Welcome to the Darkstream, Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and unauthorized.tv. So last night I mentioned that the Big Bear is going on tour, and obviously this is something of tremendous interest, at least to people in Oregon and Idaho and Indiana and Ohio, which is where the tour is taking place. But very pleased to see how enthusiastic the response has been, and this is very important for reasons that I'll explain in a little bit, and that's why we're dedicating the stream to talk about this. So as you probably know, Owen's tour is called "You're Doing Great, Kid," and so we actually had a little trouble, finding a place to sell the tickets and so forth, because, of course, not all of them, but a number of the online ticket sellers are converged in much the same way that Patreon and Twitter and everybody are converged. And so they literally said, some of you may have seen this. Let me get the exact language here so I don't make a mistake. It was really astonishingly insightful, and will definitely be appearing in my book Corporate Cancer, because I couldn't believe that they actually came right out and said it. After doing some research on Owen Benjamin, I would not consider him appropriate for Eventbrite, and his content would be considered a violation under our policies. Now think about that. These people would fall over themselves to handle the ticket sales for David Chappelle. And Owen's content is obviously not any different than David Chappelle's, because David Chappelle's ripping off his joke. Imagine if everybody said, it doesn't matter how you behave in our restaurant. It's your outside of the restaurant behavior that falls within our evaluation. I'm not entirely sure what these people are doing is even legal, but got to pick the battles. There's already plenty of battles to fight, right? Oh, that is true. That's even worse. Dave Chappelle also says the H word without any shame. Terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. And so when you look at this, when you look at the situation, it's very, very important to demonstrate that the whole purpose of the blackballing is pointless. Some people have said, "Oh, well, why didn't the Big Bear go on tour here? Why didn't he go here?" Guess why? The team was looking at venues all over the country. We thought for sure that Georgia was going to be a pretty easy place to find somewhere that wasn't going to play Thought Police. And we were wrong. The process is the same everywhere. Not everywhere, almost everywhere. Whether you're talking to a venue, whether you're talking to a ticket selling company, the process is always the same. The initial salesperson is delighted. They look into it and they say, "Oh, this is great." They looked at the sales guy at Eventbrite. He wasn't even just like a sales guy. He was the next level up. When I talked to the first person, they said, "Oh, well, we need to bring in a specialist, I think, because this is a little more serious and so forth." And the whole thing is they are very welcoming. They're very enthusiastic. This guy said Big Bear stuff was hilarious. He liked it. He watched it. And the funniest thing is that we actually ended up in a situation where the black sales guy wanted to do it, was enthusiastic about doing it, and the white SJWs told him that he wasn't allowed to, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. But, you know, this is what we're up against. Now, it's wrong to despair about these things. It's wrong to say, oh, well, there's no point. You're just never going to be able to do it. It's totally false. In fact, the only reason that it was even remotely difficult was because the time frame was short. We actually now have 3 very solid options for the future, and we're going to be establishing relationships with all these companies and stuff. Because here's something that the SJWs forgot. They genuinely believe that they're the internet. They think they control everything. And they don't realize how many companies are out there. They don't realize how many companies there are in Singapore, in Russia, in Cyprus, in many places all over the world where they don't give a flying rodent's posterior about what SJWs think. You know, I was talking to one company, and I was explaining, you know, this is a concern to us. Can you assure us that this is not going to be a problem? And he said, well, first of all, we don't have a trust and safety department. We don't know what a trust and safety department is. And they said, so you were saying that you got deplatformed from a crowdfunding site? And I said, yes. And they said, and what for? I said, well, we use the letter Q in the title of a comic. They said, what? The letter Q? I said, yeah, the letter Q. The title was literally Alt Hero Q. He didn't believe it. I had to send him a link to it so that he'd believe it. His reaction was really funny because he said, you're banned. It was really funny because his whole reaction was, Americans are crazy. They genuinely, a lot of these people genuinely think that Americans are crazy because they don't understand why you wouldn't do business with someone because of the letter Q. So anyhow, you know, it's one of those things that we have to deal with, and it's not a problem. We've been dealing with this stuff for a long time. You know, it doesn't make things more difficult, doesn't make things more complicated, and so forth. Yes, of course. But here's the good news. I think it was obviously about 24 hours ago that Owen started offering the tickets for sale. And so I'm happy to be able to say that nearly 2/3 of all the tickets, of all the general admission tickets for all the shows are already sold. You know, the You're Doing Great Kid tour is going to be sold out before the end of this weekend. I have no doubt at all about that. Now, a lot of people are wondering, hey, is there a way for me to support that? I've been getting a lot of emails from people and questions for people saying, hey, is there a way that I can support it? Should I buy a ticket? No, if you're not going to go to the show, do not buy a ticket. The reason that unauthorized is involved with this is that we are sending a camera crew to all the shows, and they're also going to be doing a little bit of traveling with the Big Bear. And so we're going to be filming both a comedy special as well as a documentary of the tour. And we're going to be offering those things for digital sale next week. You can get the special, or you can get the documentary and the special. You can get the official tour T-shirt, and then there's also going to be a series of meet and greets. Those are going to go for $200 for two people. I mean, it's $200. It includes two people, and it includes tickets. If you've already got tickets, we'll sort this out somehow so that you're not paying for 4 tickets if you want to do that. It's called A Claw with the Big Bear, and it's a chance, to meet Owen, talk to him, interact, and so forth. There's not like a ton of them. I think there's like, at the smaller shows there's 20, and at the larger shows I think there's like 35. I don't know exactly how long that meet and greet session is, but I'm assuming about an hour and a half or so. Bolt 892 says only 2 people. Yeah, for the meet and greet, yeah. And so, we want as many people as possible to be able to take part and do that. So, and of course, that's also one of the ways for people that want to offer more support to do so. Owen, as always, wants to give everything away for free, and he's very, very focused on keeping the like I just said. Owen says, "I'll hang after regardless." Meet and greet is for pre-show. The thing is that you need to, the way that we're handling these things is the same way that we do it with the Archaven and Alt Hero crowdfundings. There's always very, very affordable stuff, so that anybody who has any real interest is going to be able to afford it. And then there's more expensive options for the bigger spenders who happen to have more resources and want to offer that kind of support. It's very, very important because if you look at the way that our crowdfundings have gone, and we've done like 4 of them so far, the resources that come in are about equal. So it's not really the 80-20 rule, but it's about 50-50. And so that tends to maximize the resources available. Do you anticipate any protesters? No. I don't think there's a whole lot of SJWs anywhere except for maybe Portland. And I don't think that anybody wants to interfere with the Bears. So, somebody says, "What's the beef with Adam Green?" I don't know who Adam Green is. I don't care who Adam Green is. Adam Green is not relevant to me in any way, shape, or form. I understand that he has a thing about Cernovich and Dershowitz. The stuff that people had passed on to me was entirely false. So I don't know. I've never seen, heard, or read anything that he's ever done. Let's see here. Let's see. Somebody said something about unauthorized. No, we do have live streaming. Well, how do we answer this question? Is it true unauthorized TV doesn't offer live streaming? It is true that we are not currently using the live streaming feature there. But the live streaming feature is there. We're just choosing not to use it because the way that they set it up makes it extremely awkward for the creators. And so it makes more sense to do the streaming here and then put it up, put it up there when we're done. So we'll switch over to, it doesn't make any sense to use suboptimal interfaces when you don't have to. Now, obviously, if we lost the ability, if one of our creators lost the ability to stream here or stream at some of the other platforms that we're on, that we're also not currently utilizing. But, that's all just nonsense. I mean, somebody was saying something, but I figured out where their domain is. So what? I mean, it makes no difference whatsoever. We have backups to our backups at this point. In terms of, we had to move the main place that the videos are being pointed to last week. We did it in a weekend. I don't think that, when you hear people saying stuff like that, all it indicates is that they don't understand how modern technology works. Even when you set up stuff down on the metal at the lowest possible level, so you're running on your own server in your own house, you can have it mirrored so that you're running it on the one machine downstairs and the other machine upstairs. Everything is virtual these days. Everything is mirrored and backed up. And, for example, if you are watching this video later on YouTube, the server that you're actually watching it on is probably one that is co-located closer to your physical position. So, if perhaps you've heard of server farms. YouTube has server farms all over the world because they don't want people in Asia watching videos that are in California and so forth. So over here in Europe, I am probably watching the same video that is pointed at the same domain on a server that's in a different continent than the one that you're watching it on. So anyhow, availability zones, that may be one of the terms. I don't know. I don't concern myself with that kind of stuff. I'm not the expert. But the thing is that, people are going to be constantly trying to undermine us and, try to convince people not to watch us. To give you an example of how utterly they have failed, this month, August, was our best month for new subscribers ever. More people subscribed to Unauthorized in August than in the previous 5 months, than in any of the previous 5 months that we've been around. So going to be a particularly intelligent person. Let me put it this way. Even Amazon leaves us alone now. Amazon is one of the smartest, best run companies in the world. The people who work there are extremely smart. And they don't particularly like us. There are some people there that really don't like us. Oh, somebody said, where can I go for tickets? Well, I'm glad you asked. Go there. Um, you know, so um, look at it this way. Amazon leaves us alone. Google leaves us alone. So you really think that you're going to make a big difference with your, little group of friends constantly snarking about us? Yeah. I mean, I've had people actively trying to deplatform me, undermine me, and discredit me since 2001. All right. I was the subject in 2001 of the Council on American Islamic Relations weekly email target. So I was getting email bombed by hundreds of very, very angry Muslims every day for a week. That didn't slow me down in the slightest. It had no effect on me whatsoever. And that was 18 years ago. So if you think that snarking a little bit is going to do anything, you just might want to keep that in mind. Anyhow, so hugepianist.com/tour is the place to get tickets. Only about a third of them are left. So you might want to, if you're at all interested, you might want to hop on that sooner rather than later, because the tour is going to sell out, and it's going to sell out soon. Let's do some super chats. I forgot to charge my battery up, so I don't know how much longer we have. Probably 20, 25 minutes would be my guess. Let's see here. David Reed says, thanks for all the great content, Box. You're welcome. Side note, what do you think of the Total War game series? I loved Total War, the original one. I really loved Total War Medieval. And I hated Total War Medieval 2 with a passion. I hated Total War Rome. And I hated Total War Rome. I hated Total War Medieval 2 with a passion. And I haven't even bothered checking out any game in the series since, which is kind of disappointing because I really liked the fact that they did the Warhammer one, but I knew that I didn't even bother playing it because I hate the arcade-like battles. Also, what's your favorite strategy game? Well, if you're talking about on the computer, my favorite strategy game is probably Fantasy General. That's the game that I just play for fun for no reason when I feel like relaxing. My favorite strategy game, board game, is ASL, Advanced Squad Leader. But as a standalone game, I would say Divine Right. And my favorite intro game is War at Sea. Hyperbike Bear says, first lesson new journalism major learns. Journalism is a negative return on investment against student loans. Indeed. Courtesy of econ degree. Yeah, econ degrees are actually pretty good at teaching you how to think. It's interesting to see how many of the sensible commentators out there have econ backgrounds, like myself. Testicular Tactics says, what's the difference between Joe Rogan's wiener and his jokes? Nobody laughs at his jokes. Okay, it's not that funny, but it's cutting. It cuts. Thomas W. says, are there any studies that show children of LGBT parents are more likely to be molested? I believe so, but that's not my bailiwick, so I would encourage you to check out Moira Grayland. She knows an awful lot about the subject, far more than she would like. She's the author of The Last Closet, and she writes on this subject frequently. I know of one by Mark Regnerus, but liberals claim that he defined lesbian and gay parents too broadly. Well, that's the thing about sources. They ask for sources and studies. And if you make the mistake of bothering to provide them with one, they then turn it to a critique of those sources and studies. They're not honest. And there's no question whatsoever that these children are more likely to be molested. In fact, if I recall correctly, what I heard from Moira, the majority of those children are molested. Doc Mesmer said, I think a lot of younger guys ask you what they should do with their lives because they're impatiently waiting for you to give them an army to join. That may be, but if that's what you're doing, then maybe you should go out and get some skills that would be related. Forgon says, where can I purchase a ticket? We mentioned that already, hugepianist.com/tour. Can you elaborate how big cities burn people out and drive them insane? I mean, I don't know about burning people out and driving them insane, but in terms of rendering their goals irrelevant, the problem that I saw in a number of my friends, most of them female, is that they all want to go to the city to have a big adventure. Virtually none of the young women, and probably not too many of the young men, actually intend to go and live there, to make their lives there. Very few people go to New York and say, I want to spend the rest of my life living in Manhattan. Why? Because Manhattan's a terrible place to live. You know, it's psychologically repressive to be surrounded by giant buildings and tons of people all the time. Humans are not designed to live that way. In fact, one of the signature achievements of Western civilization is that it allows people to live in large cities with large populations in close proximity without dying like flies. The Romans had a big city. 1 million people lived there. That's not a small city even now. But the average life of a Roman resident, a resident of Rome, was half that of a rural Roman. The only reason that the elite live so long is that during the summers they would leave Rome and go and live on their country estates. So humans are not meant to live in cities all their lives. And so when you go to a big city, what you're doing is you're essentially putting your life on hold to have an adventure. And I was talking to a girl that I knew well, and she was frustrated about the fact that she couldn't seem to meet anyone who wanted to get married and have kids, which she did, which she wanted to do. And she's a very attractive girl, intelligent, very likable, and yet she kept finding herself in one dead-end relationship after another. And I finally said, look, don't you understand? Everyone you meet there wants to have their big adventure. And their big adventure doesn't involve a committed relationship. It involves sampling the best that the city has to offer. And so she realized that was true. She left. And within, I think, 2 years, she was married. And now she has 3 gorgeous kids. So that's how it works. Shani Wu or Sini Wu says, God bless. Thanks very much. And likewise. Behold a pale horse bear. It says, Vox, my brother and I are driving from New York to the Ohio show. We already bought our tickets. Where can we buy the meet and greet package? Give us a few days. We're going to try to have all that up and available by Wednesday. And we'll see if we can come up with some way to credit you back or something. We'll figure it out. Legionnaire Bear says, hey, Vox and BB, somehow I missed where we can purchase tickets. Can you please inform? That's hugepianist.com. Pianist, like person who plays the piano.com/tour. By the way, finished A Throne of Bones, loved it. My mother-in-law is going to read it next. Left a good review on Amazon. Well, thanks. That's something that's very important. Leaving reviews is one of those small things that you can do to help people that you want to support. It doesn't cost anything. Just takes a little time. But I always appreciate it when people leave reviews. And I'm not just saying, 5-star, hey, this is the best thing ever. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I would rather get a 3-star review that has intelligent things to say about what they liked and didn't like than just a 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. That doesn't tell people anything. Sorry, that's just a personal nit. Chris P. Y. Bear says, sorry if this has been explained already, but is there some sort of separate VIP meet and greet purchase option versus the standard ticket for Owen's tour? Yes, and it's not available yet. Just the regular tickets are available. Great Odin's Raven has the same question. Already has his general admission. Also, people are asking about where to buy tickets. hugepianist.com/tour. PFO Dynamite throws in $2. Robert Dunn asks, how do I get an official bear name? You have to go on Owen's stream and make the request, and he will verify you. Marie Golay sends her best. Thank you, Marie. Always good to see you. Robert Dunn, I'm not the guy to talk to. So, Drywall Bear says, thanks, Vox. And PFO Dynamite says, who do you utilize to harvest Big Bear's mustache? Well, I'll give you a hint. He's very small. How do they get past the wall? I just told you. So, all right. Well, thanks for the super chats. That covers that. And Vox, do you not think Owen's tour will receive some pushback? Is there an option for Special Boys to correct Owen's comedy after the show? Yeah, we should probably arrange for that. Let's see here. Welcome, Drywell Buyer. And, I missed that. Owen said his dog made it out of the surgery. She's good. Woohoo. So glad to hear that. We're always happy to hear about the dogs. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, and one of the big advantages, Asparagus Bear just pointed out, one of the big advantages is that if you go to Owen's show, you can not only get the chance to see Owen, but there's a very good chance that you can meet David Chappelle's writers. So that's an added bonus. Jake Hansen, Owen had the greatest tour marketing line today in the stream. Come out and see what jokes David Chappelle will be telling in 3 years. That is effective marketing. Will a recording be sent to Dave through digital or physical means? Oh, we're absolutely going to send him a signed DVD copy. Just in case he needs any ideas. I think he'll appreciate that. It'll, save him from, although, who knows? Maybe he'll be there with his writers. Chappelle. I don't spend time burning on people. That's not my thing. So, all right. Well, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to cover tonight. Thanks for tuning in. And we should probably call it an evening before the battery runs out, but I'll turn this on just in case you're not aware. Oh, one other thing I should mention. We're hoping to get this new site set up in time to use it for the meet and greets and for the tour support merchandise and so forth. And the important thing about it is it's a alternate payment system that will connect directly to your bank account. What that means is that you don't have to worry about Stripe. You don't have to worry about PayPal. You don't have to worry about the credit card companies. None of these people will be in a position to interfere with it. So anyhow, I think that it's going to be good to get everybody signed up to that because it's going to render the whole blackballing thing irrelevant. So, but in the meantime, we'll look forward to seeing you soon. If you're interested in going to Owen's shows, hugepianist.com/tour. And we will look forward to seeing you at the next Darkstream. This is the Darkstream on Box Day.